There seemed to be a lot of uncertainty yesterday, but at least some light at the end of the tunnel with at least that deal struck between the two teams on how to go about this. Senator OKetch, are we on the right track now? At least that today morning, the 14-member committee will be sitting to discuss some of these issues. Of course, not formal talks yet, but are we on the right track?
You know, 2 weeks ago, Zainab, when Ruto asked for the stop of demonstrations, the understanding of the entire nation is that there was a reason as to why Azimio people went to demonstrate. And those reasons were four. Number one, there was the issue of high cost of living, of course embodied by, I don't know why.
Sorry, we'll get you some water. Yes.
So it was embodied by high cost of food prices as the biggest indicator for high cost of living. Number two was the issue of IBC, the reconstitution of IBC to the extent of basically forming the next commission that is going to be able to adjudicate over our next elections. Number three was the issue of the past election with regards to opening the servers. And number four was the issue of interference with political parties to the extent of killing multi-party democracy, which is a constitutional requirement. Now, for you to stop that mandamano, those four issues must be addressed. And why has it been difficult to move forward with these bipartisan talks? Is because of three issues. Number one is just the TORs, you know, the terms of reference that must then inform why people should not go to mandamano, which the TORs cannot emanate anywhere possibly in this, out of this world from those four issues that Azimio is agitating about. Because if it's a dispute that you want to be able to have dialogue and conversations about, then you must address the issues on the table. And one of the issues that's on the table, as I've enlisted, is the issue of interfering with democracy. Such that the second reason why these bipartisan talks are becoming very difficult to have is that the Kenya Kwanza side chooses to put in those talks MPs poached from the side of Azimio like Keynan. That just shows extremely bad faith. And then you want to limit conversations to one issue when you are the other side of the aisle has got issues with all these other four areas that you can't be able to ignore.
What is the problem of having Adan Keynan, who really said, you know, he believes in whatever Kenya Kwanza, you know, aspires, or, you know, to be part of Kenya Kwanza, although he was indeed elected under the Jubilee ticket, which was under Azimio, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of issues within that Jubilee at this point, but he says, look, I believe in Kenya Kwanza, and I want to have these conversations on behalf of Kenya Kwanza. What would be such a big issue with that?
Zainab, I beg for just a endorsement of your side to understand the grasp and the weight of what Azimio as a coalition is agitating about. These are fundamental constitutional issues. And the reason why this is very important as we go to these talks, we go to understand it, because if they're not addressed to the extent that we can be able to protect the Kenyan constitution, it will be a problem. The issue of food prices is actually enshrined in our constitution under Article 43 of the constitution, economic and social rights that we have in this country. You cannot touch that. The second issue around election, Article 86 of our constitution, if you go and read it, C and D, sub-article C and D, it's very clear how our elections are supposed to be run, to the extent that our election laws have come up, we have come up with three very distinct electoral laws. Number one is the Political Parties Act, which governs how political parties should play to be able to endorse Article 4 of the Constitution. And then number two, we have got the Election Act 2011. Election Act 2011, if you go under subsection 44, it is very clear and it requires a proper audit of all our elections to the extent of opening things like the server, so that people are completely sure about an election according to Article 86 of the Constitution. Then the third law that governs our elections in this country, Zainab, is the IBC Act. IBC Act, Section 23 of the IBC Act, requires the auditing of all assets that pertains to whether digital or hard assets of IBC that pertains to all our elections, such that these are issues that you cannot just sweep under the table. And if one party in these talks is agitating over interference with Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which is Kenya is established as a multi-party democracy, to the extent that Political Parties Act Section 14E says that when you are elected within one coalition and you want to change your allegiance to that coalition, you have to resign and go to the back to the people to seek a fresh mandate. And here is somebody who belongs to Jubilee, was elected to by Jubilee, is in parliament as a virtue of Jubilee. Jubilee is still a part of the Azimio coalition by law, and then you want to bring that person to again hold bipartisan talks with the people agitating about the same kind of defiance to the Constitution. What are we talking about?
Okay, I'll get you, Senator Sotsi, but Senator Tabitha, so, you know, there's certainly that bone of contention. Adan Keynan, who's still a member of Jubilee,